Getting your first iOS developer job can feel impossible, especially when you're just starting out and competing with so many experienced developers. But trust me, I've been there. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I landed my first iOS position and how you can too. There were 4 phases that I used to land my position. The first phase was the learning phase. I first got into iOS development whilst I was studying. At that time, I learnt languages such as Objective-C, J2ME for Nokia devices and Windows Mobile. Back then, resources for learning were quite limited. I relied on small Objective-C tutorials I could find on YouTube. I also used books like Beginning Objective-C and Teach Yourself iOS Development to help me understand the fundamentals. Google was my best friend for searching for coding examples within Objective-C. The second stage was building projects. Building projects is crucial when you're just starting out, and even today I continue to build projects to keep my skills sharp and up to date. My focus has always been on projects that involve JSON or XML parsing, APIs such as Firebase, accessibility, authentication, payment integration such as Apple Pay, and client-side database management such as SQL Server and a bit of core data. Working on these kinds of projects helped me to develop my skills with hands-on experience, and it helped to set me apart. The third phase was job hunting. In 2011, after completing my studies, I began searching for iOS developer positions. I primarily used platforms like CW Jobs, JobServe, and LinkedIn. However, it took a while to land my first iOS job, largely because I was originally working as a web developer using C# and ASP.NET, whilst simultaneously trying to stay current with iOS development. One of my biggest mistakes was trying to juggle 2 platforms at once. I realized I needed to specialize. So in 2014, I decided to focus exclusively on iOS development and let go of web development. It wasn't until 2016, 2 years after fully committing to iOS development, that I landed my first iOS position. The fourth phase was the project that got me the job. Since I had no commercial iOS experience at that time, the project that helped me secure my first iOS job was an app that I built in 2014. The app was called YouVote. It allowed individuals to vote using their national insurance number, name, and selected party. I developed YouVote using Objective-C, Core Graphics, .NET, web services with MS Access database backend. Interestingly, the stack I used for this project matched the technology stack used by the company that hired me, which included Objective-C. Instead of MS Access, used SQL Server and web APIs instead of using .NET web services. Here are some of the original screenshots of YouVote and some source code from 2014. As you can see, the web services was written in .NET, which is this one here. So the purpose of the web service was to enable the results to be passed from the database server and then synchronized to the iOS device using a JSON payload. So this is the exact C# code that I created back then. I know there's probably issues with it, but that's what I done back then. As you can see, I hard coded the SQL. Really, there should be a store procedure. And then on line 74, that would pass the JSON response to the browser as a JSON payload. And everything in between lines between lines 19 up into lines 64 opens and connects the database connectivity for the MS Access database. So that was the actual web service codes that I've done. And this is the actual Objective-C codes, which is called, the method is called getVotes. And the purpose of the getVote method was to enable the application to display a list of votes onto the screen. And the data would then be in a pie chart format. And then this method also communicated with the web service within C#. It's been such a long time since I've looked at this that I've forgotten. And then there's a few screenshots in here as well, which includes a lot. No, that's not the right order. So the right order is the user has to be able to log in or register. So if the user clicks on the login button, then they will have access to the main menu. And then if the user wants to cast their vote, they would have to click on the vote button, which is here. So the vote button would give the user access to the parties they want to vote for, and then they will select submit vote. And then after selecting submit vote, that JSON payload will be submitted from the Objective-C front end to the web service on my website at that time, because this was only a portfolio to show that I could program in iOS for Objective-C at that time. And then to display the list of votes, as in the results, I created a results view, which is a view controller. And this is what it looked like here back then. It was a pie chart. So this is the actual application that got me the job, my first position as an iOS developer at that time in 2016. And with dedication and persistence, you'll get your job too as an iOS developer. If you like this tutorial video, then please put a comment or a like in the chat. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. If you found this tutorial helpful, please comment, like and subscribe. See you next week.